Food delivery has become such a normal part of modern life that few people think twice about opening their door to a stranger holding a bag of takeout. Yet for some, what should have been a simple transaction turned into a disturbing, unforgettable nightmare, like the story of Kevin, a college student pulling a late shift at his campus job who decided to order Chinese food around midnight. Waiting in his small apartment with only a single dim lamp on, scrolling through his phone until he heard a knock at the door. And when he opened it, he was greeted not by the uniformed driver from the app, but by a tall, thin man in a dirty hoodie holding his food bag with one hand and keeping the other shoved deep in his pocket. His eyes wide and unblinking, staring as though he hadn't blinked for minutes. And though Kevin felt uneasy, he thanked him quickly and tried to shut the door, only for the man to suddenly press his free hand against it and whisper, "Aren't you going to invite me in?" A request that made Kevin's blood run cold, and when he firmly refused, slamming the door, he heard the delivery man's footsteps linger in the hall for several minutes, pacing back and forth, before finally fading away. Yet when Kevin checked the app later, he discovered that no delivery had ever been marked complete, and the restaurant confirmed no driver matching that description worked for them, leaving him to wonder who exactly had shown up with his food that night, and what might have happened if he had given in. Another chilling story comes from a young woman named Melissa, who worked nights as a nurse, and often ordered late dinners after long shifts, one evening requesting pizza to be dropped off around 1 a.m. at her quiet suburban house, and though the driver was polite, smiling as he handed her the box, she noticed as she closed the door that he hadn't. He actually left, but instead stood motionless on her porch, facing the door as though waiting for something. And when she peeked through the blinds, he was still there minutes later, staring directly into the crack of the curtains with a grin that grew wider every time she looked. And terrified, she called the pizza place, who confirmed the driver should have been long gone. So she phoned the police, and when they arrived, the man had vanished into the night, but chillingly, they discovered fresh footprints circling her entire house, leading to windows and even the back door, as though he had been testing every possible entry point while she was distracted by fear. And Melissa never again ordered food for delivery after dark. The third story involves Jamal, a rideshare and delivery driver himself, who often worked nights. One evening delivering takeout to an older house in a run-down neighborhood around 2 a.m. The porch light flickering weakly as he approached, food in hand, and when he knocked, the door creaked open on its own, revealing a dim hallway with peeling wallpaper and a strange smell like rotting meat. And though uneasy, Jamal called out the order name, only to hear a faint voice upstairs say, "Come in." But when he stepped over the threshold, still holding the food, the door slammed shut behind him with a force that rattled the frame, plunging the hallway into darkness, except for the faint glow of a single bulb. And as he froze, he heard the creak of slow footsteps descending the staircase. But the shadow cast against the wall was massive, far larger than any normal person. And when it reached the bottom stair, it simply stopped, breathing heavily in the dark, and Jamal bolted, dropping the food and forcing the door open with his shoulder before sprinting back to his car, shaking so badly he nearly dropped his keys. And as he sped off, he saw in his rearview mirror a tall figure step onto the porch, watching him until the house disappeared from sight, and the order was later flagged as fraudulent, with no traceable customer details, as though someone had lured him there deliberately. These three stories Kevin's encounter with the imposter delivery man who wasn't a part of any service, Melissa's ordeal with the driver who lingered to stalk her home, and Jamal's brush with something inhuman waiting in a decaying house, capture the unnerving truth that the simple comfort of late-night food delivery can sometimes become a gateway into horror. For behind the knock at the door may lurk not a friendly driver, but someone or something with darker intentions. And while most orders end with nothing more than a warm meal and a polite exchange, these accounts stand as grim reminders that opening your door after midnight may expose you not just to the night, but to the predators and presences that thrive within it, waiting patiently for someone hungry enough to let them in.